Our next guest on the show, well, he's one of NASCAR's rising stars, currently involved in the NASCAR Next program, as well as the most recently crowned champion in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East. Oh, not to mention, he's only 17 years old. Please welcome Harrison Burton. Harrison, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Should be a lot of fun.
All right, so I want to first of all congratulate you on that big championship. I know these past couple of weeks have been really busy for you. You had the NASCAR awards ceremony. You had to give a speech. What does it mean to you to represent NASCAR as one of their champions?
Well, it means the world. You know, when you're a young kid starting out starting out racing, your goal is to be a NASCAR champion, right? So to go out and accomplish that and be able to enjoy it this past weekend and have a lot of fun with it, it was awesome. I feel like that was the whole thing was just a culmination of a lot of years of work that went into it, and it was just really, really cool to be a part of, and I'm really blessed to have that opportunity.
I want to go back to that wild championship race in Dover. You had to overcome a points deficit to win that championship. How crazy was that race and the emotions following it?
Well, the race in itself was crazy. It's Dover, so it's gonna be crazy. It's high speeds and a lot of action. So that was a lot of fun. And as far as my emotions go, I was just just doing my thing. I feel like that was what helped me a lot was I just treated it like any other race, and it ended up working well for us. I feel like that there was a lot of points where I could have gotten too excited and or too nervous or too sad. There was ups and downs all the way through the race. So it was good just to stay neutral and stay focused on my job, and that was a hard thing. But once I finally crossed the line, it was a big sigh of relief. I was happy. I remember screaming and yelling, and I lost my voice. And it was just a cool experience. It's something that I won't forget in my whole life.
You know, this interview is unique for me by the fact that I want to say you're the only driver I've ever interviewed that, like myself, is still in high school. How do you balance your racing and schoolwork?
Well, high school's hard.
Yeah.
There's times where it gets really challenging, and I feel like it's making me a better person, though. I have to own up to people when I make mistakes, or I have to plan ahead and be proactive. So there's a whole lot of things that I think high school is helping me with. Not only, it's not completely about learning biology and all that. It's about learning life skills and things that you're going to use for the rest of your life. So to try and do racing and high school is just making that even more effective. I think I'm learning so much about how to deal with hard situations and how to deal with social life and balancing being a kid and working and all that. So it's been fun. It's been a challenge, to say the least. Junior year of high school is tough, and I'm ready to get done with it, but it's teaching me a lot that I can use later in life.
The K&N Pro Series, not the only series you raced in this season. You made 6 starts this year in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, including a 4th place finish at Martinsville, which is really, really awesome. What is it like to you moving one step up further in the ladder of your career?
Well, it's awesome. Everything that has 4 wheels and a motor, I love it. And so that had no exception. I had a great time when I would get into the truck, and I had a great time when I raced K&N or ARCA or Super Late models. So I was bouncing around everywhere this year, it felt like, and it was awesome. I felt like I learned a lot this year. So for me, the truck series was a big step up. There's a big step up in competition and in the spotlight and all this stuff that you got to deal with. So it's a big step up, and it's something that you can't take lightly. You got to be well prepared, and you got to do your job. And especially when you drive for someone like Kyle Busch, and that team has had such great results that they expect the same out of you. So if you don't perform well, then there's normally one factor that can be looked at, and that's you, because normally that team runs well. So for me, it was tough to deal with all that pressure and all that. But I think, like I said before, it's a learning experience, and I'm far more prepared this coming year for any races that I do, I think, because of it.
I was about to say, if you can't tell us anything, that's fine. But do you know if there are any possible truck opportunities or truck starts for the 2018 season?
Yeah, it looks like I'm going to be, in the truck series some. I don't have any of the races dialed down yet, 100%. Nothing's been inked down, so you know how it is. Racing can change in any second. So I can't announce anything yet, but I do have some stuff working that I'm really excited about, and I have some really great opportunities heading my way, and I just got to make the most of them. You know, I had a great season this past season, but for me, that's not good enough. I got to do better this next year, and then the year after that, I got to constantly get better. So this past year was great, and it's good to enjoy it, but I'm ready to get going in the next one. I'm more motivated than I was ever before to go out and try and prove myself.
You race against your friends Todd Gilliland and Noah Gragson in the Truck Series. Do you race them differently than other drivers?
If anything, we race harder. It's kind of funny, you know. People say that you can't have friends at the racetrack because you won't want to race them hard, or you'll be afraid to get into them. But for us, I feel like it's the opposite. Like, I feel like all of the guys that are in our friend group, and we have a pretty, you know, wide friend group of guys that are racing and trying to make it up the ladder, and it's interesting because we'll go out and race, and it'll be the five of us or however many racing for a win sometimes. So it gets fun, it gets intense, and all that. But I don't really race them that much differently, I don't think, than I would anyone else. And I think that's what makes our relationships really good, is because you know, in this sport, you got to have friends, right? You're going to be on the road a lot, and as a kid, you want to have friends to go out and have a good time with and all that. And then when you get back to the racetrack, it's all business, and you just want to beat the guy even more than before. So I think it works out really good, and it's a good motivating factor, because when one of your friends wins, you're like, oh, I gotta go win now, and so it bounces off back and forth, and it's really fun.
All right, I finally want to touch up real quick on the NASCAR Next program. We talked last year at the driver development seminar, and you mentioned something that was really interesting to me, and you said the NASCAR industry didn't want to put any restrictions on you in terms of you as a person. So how is it having NASCAR just allowing you to be yourself and do your own thing at the racetrack?
Well, it's fun, you know, and that's how it should be. We get to drive race cars, right? That's awesome, and we shouldn't, you know, dress it up. You know, we're just a bunch of guys going as fast as we can, trying to beat the other guys. It's a lot of fun, and it's a sport that's, you know, it's a contact sport, and there's all this stuff that goes on. And if NASCAR tried to, you know, I don't know what the word for it, but I guess try to limit us to be more professional and all that, and being professional is definitely important in how we are, but also, you know, just being ourselves. So it's a lot of fun to have NASCAR just kind of let the reins go and let us be ourselves, and don't really tell us anything to do or whatever. They just kind of sometimes they'll hand me their phone and be like, take over the Snapchat. I'm like, okay. So there's a lot of things like that are really awesome about it, and I think that the sport is only better because of the fact that we can do what we feel like doing and want to talk about.
All right, well, it sounds like a lot of fun. I really appreciate you taking the time. Harrison Burton, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Hopefully I can talk to you soon.